And for those of you that aren't, just chill. See, we're gonna get down to the other stuff here in a minute. But what I'm always trying to get everybody to understand is everything is vibration. So, before we do anything else, vibe. Just vibe. Hey, what's up with it, Nana? We in this thing like a long ding-a-ling. Deep. Yes, sir. Everything is vibration. Jazzy. What's up with it, sis? Love. 1, 2, 3, 4. You already know. Yeah, just vibe. Reflection. What's up with it? Yeah, it's 4:20. So now would be the time to put some flame to that motherfucker. Oh yeah. And if you don't fuck around, this one's for you. We have successfully made it through Aries season. And I wish I could say now it was time to chill. Hey, if you haven't smiled yet today, now would be the perfect time to do so. And if you can't find a smile for yourself, don't fuck with me, fellas. Just allow me to be the smile on your face. Because at the end of the day, all I am is this smile on your face. All I am is the motherfucking vibe. King Strong. All right, fam, get at me. Yeah. Where's everybody checking in from today? As you should know already. It's 12:03 in Narnia. Here untethered. What's up with it? Temptress the Enchantress. What's good with you this afternoon? Gabby, Welcome. All the way from Sin City. Las Vegas is probably my favorite place in the whole world. I ain't gonna lie to you. Ain't nothing like Vegas, man. Maybe it's because Vegas is a vibe.
Purchase your tracks today.
Excuse me. Everything is vibration, man. We got King Strong coming through from Baltimore. Reflection from the UK. Now we didn't come to play. Yo. It's about that time for you to open up your will and let me crawl into your mind. We got Young Ra coming through from Washington Heights, Manhattan, the Dominican capital of America. Don't think I don't know. When I was locked up, I had a cellie that was from Washington Heights. And he used to keep a little lizard in his cell. He caught it when we were at rec one day. And he brought a branch from outside, snuck a branch in, and that lizard lived on his desk on a branch. And it didn't go anywhere, it didn't do anything else. And I think he did it because he knew black folks didn't fuck with a whole bunch of animals like that. So ain't nobody been going there in the cell with that goddamn lizard in there. You feel it? Yo. Shout out to everybody from everywhere, man. The only thing we pump up in here is love. Yeah. Like that. We're gonna get down to the nitty gritty in just a minute. That's for sure. Earthshaker, 9th Avatar. Caleb Woods. What's up with it, fam? Hey, I did get your email. So, whenever you're ready, just shoot the information, shoot the payment, and we in business, baby. Yo. Young Ross said Uncle Fernando used to live around him in Dickman. I bet he did live around some dick, man. No, I'm gonna stop playing, man. What's up with you? not doing Unc like that. Everybody know Unc is my nigga. A lot of my whole style came from Unc. But you also know I ain't lying. You know I ain't lying and there ain't nothing wrong with that. I ain't doing them nothing but the truth. Shout out to Uncle Fernando, man. Once again, as everybody knows.
90.
Yeah. Shout out to the OG. Now what? I think it's about time to go into what's going on cosmically. If you will allow me to do so. Yeah. See this right here? This vibe right here, this reminds me of 3 a.m. in New York City, even though I've never been there. That's how beautifully chaotic it can get.
90.
I used to have dreams about New York City when I was in my 20s for some reason. Like I always would have different dreams about being in New York City, and it wasn't anything idealized. A lot of the times it was nasty and weird, but I don't know. Maybe that was the other me. The parallel me doing his thing in New York City. Yeah. Vibe. Zahir said he was born in New York, but he traveled to Brazil as a youngster, never to return. Serafina, what's going on in New Mexico? We finna talk about it right now, y'all. So, we got the sun at 0 degrees Taurus right now. You know, see, when we get into Taurus season, this is a whole different vibe than Aries season. This is where things slow down. This is where you gotta have patience. In some ways, you gotta let the blessings come to you. Find somewhere safe to hunker down for a little bit. Hold what you got. And only spend it if it's worth it. And you can see your taste kind of start to elevate as Venus comes into the mix. And see, what's beautiful about this is the moon is also in Taurus. Mercury's also in Taurus. The North Node is also in Taurus. So this is what you're supposed to be doing. See, we had that eclipse last night at 29 degrees of Aries when it was exact. And see, that was just hot as it gets. Now we can chill out because that eclipse also evolved into a Taurus eclipse, which is beautiful. See, we went from Aries to Taurus, still in that eclipse energy. And it was close to exact in both, which is crazy. It really is one of those unprecedented eclipses that a lot of people didn't even take note of. Everybody was focused on it being at 29 degrees of Aries. They forgot that beautiful evolution. And then with Mercury retrograde coming up, or being here today or tomorrow, what you get with that is people are so focused on that, because that is one of those themes that is so cliche these days, that people forgot that, you know, as we go into this Taurus season and with this eclipse, it is loosely conjunct to the North Node. While it's also square to Pluto. We also have Mercury retrograde starting out as it's stationed conjunct to Uranus within 2 degrees, which is a tight enough conjunction to speak on. And so we're going to talk about it. But just understand, as we transition from that Aries energy, and we have already done so it's no use talking about what happened with Aries. This is where your values come into mix. You can't be so impulsive. No, you have to have patience. Safety and security are key. But also understand, Jupiter is still in Aries. Chiron is still in Aries. So, even if you have to be more patient, understand you have to allow that energy of Venus to come into the mix, and that will help you take actions towards healing, even if it means that you have to take a step back and learn how to chill out and not be as impulsive as you've been for so long here. And, you know, with Taurus, I love Taurus because there's really no bullshit with Taurus. It's really simply solid. And for somebody like me, that's something that I need. That's something that I love. It's something that I can stick to. And so it's like with me having Taurus ruling my 8th house, but me also having some Gemini there, there's this thing where I'm able to, because of Taurus, keep calm and think clearly and do what I need to do in certain situations, and that is a blessing in itself. But also with Taurus, the thing is, this is, even though it's called the bull, it is a feminine energy. So you have to be receptive of certain things. That means you can't be as forceful as you were before. Be steady. Be stubborn in your values. If you do have values that you feel are important to you, then hold true to those solidly. And enjoy life. Take the time to enjoy every step of the journey. See, that's the thing with Venus being in the mix here. Not only is it creative, but it's also, we're like, hey man, sometimes when you're getting caught up in the hustle and bustle, you don't get to enjoy life. So as we go through all of these transitions and as we go through everything that's happening in our life, you have to take the time to enjoy this shit for real. Even when shit doesn't go the way that you expected it to. Enjoy that you're alive. See, I listen to all types of people. And I happened to be listening to Sadhguru the other day. And when I was listening to Sadhguru the other day, he says, you could die any second, and he's perfectly right. You could die any second. I mean, he's not passed on, But just look at Jamie Foxx. Jamie Foxx was living his life normally just a couple of weeks ago. Has a stroke, now he has a brain aneurysm, and his life is completely different now. Just like that. 1 minute from being perfectly fine, the next minute to you can no longer communicate the same. The things that you have stuck to your whole life as what has made you prosper are no longer available to you no more. And what's funny is that is a Taurus theme, and Jamie Foxx, I believe he is a Taurus moon. I think he is a Sagittarius sun, Taurus moon, or the opposite. He's a Taurus sun, Sagittarius moon, one or the other. But either way, with that right there, like you just have to see, like, hey man, any second things could be different for you. So you have to value every second. So if you live through the next moment, then you should be smiling. If you make it an hour, you should smile again. If you make it to this evening, you should be smiling big time. If you wake up in the motherfucking morning, man, you should value whatever obstacles might come into your way, because that's just a chance for you to grow, and that's a chance for you to be alive and feel things. When I'm talking about the North Node being in Taurus, and I'm telling y'all, there's no such thing as a life that's better than yours, when I'm quoting J. Cole with that. Like, I'm not just quoting a rapper, I'm telling you, hey man, it doesn't matter what your situation is, man. It's your situation, it's you own it. And perception is everything. You can choose to live joyously. That's what I've learned over this time that I've went through over the last couple of months. Is I can sit up and worry and stress and whine and cry, or I can choose to live joyously. I can choose to enjoy my life. I can choose to understand that, hey, things are not always going to go as planned. There's going to be obstacles, but guess what? Every obstacle that I'm faced with is just a chance for me to rise to an occasion or rise to a challenge and get better. And so, with this right here, with us going into this new moon in Taurus, with this, or this solar eclipse in Taurus now, with this being square to Pluto and conjunct to the North Node. The moon is already past its conjunction with the North Node, but the sun is going to come into a conjunction with the North Node over the next couple of days. And so as we go into this right here, look at your life. Realize wherever you are, this is exactly where you're supposed to be. As the sun comes into the conjunction with the North Node, that's the truth. Wherever you're at this present moment in your life, this is exactly where you're supposed to be. So enjoy that. And that doesn't mean that it has to be horrible. Even if your life is not ideal like you thought it was going to be. Guess what? You can enjoy the opportunity and the challenge that's presented before you for you to make it that way. Okay, it's not what you wanted to be, but guess what? You can now be appreciative of the opportunity for you to make it that way. Every fucking breath that you get is another chance for you to change your narrative, or for you to continue the positive narrative that you've been creating. Just remember that. And so, also understand with the sun square to Pluto, and this is a square between Taurus and Aquarius. Oh, what you end up seeing is, first of all, the sun in Taurus, this is safety. This is security, this is chill energy, this is like, hey man, what we gonna do here is get somewhere safe and create something beautiful. Let me feel safe and let me show you how beautiful I can be. Now, the thing is with Pluto in Aquarius, this is like, hey, you're not going to be able to feel safe because who knows what's going to happen. You need to keep an open mind. So this square here is presenting you with this fixed conflict of energetic expression, where the masculine energetic expression of Pluto in Aquarius, which is forcing you to have an open mind, which is forcing you to be conscious, because crazy stuff happens. Look at the tornadoes that happen. Look at, you know, look at the different stuff that happens on a daily basis, whether it be shoes, whether this, those things are things where you have to be able to have an open mind, and safety has to be a concept that has to be adaptable. Well, the thing is, Taurus is not very adaptable. That's really what Taurus does least. Taurus is solid, it's awesome, it has values, all that shit is beautiful, but it doesn't adapt very well. That stubbornness gets in the way of adaptability. And so, because of the times that we're in, the concept of safety, the concept of prosperity has to be adaptable, or your pursuit of that has to be adaptable in the approach. Don't forget that. Yeah, I'm on my shit today. Now, I almost hit y'all with that Uncle Fernando right there. That's delicious. Anyway, the moon at this present moment right now is, the moon is at 8 degrees of Taurus, I believe. And so with the moon at 8 degrees of Taurus here, all right, the moon is exalted in Taurus for a reason. This is a calm. See, the moon is exalted in Taurus because this is the calmest place in the whole zodiac. That song's getting on my nerves. Hold on. That fucking beat right there was working my goddamn nerves. Anyway, this is more Taurus moon vibe here. And so, the reason that the moon is exalted in Taurus is the same reason that the moon falls in Scorpio, and we've discussed this before. It's because in Scorpio, even though that is a water sign, so you would think the moon does well there, those are the most turbulent waters that you would ever have to deal with. They're deep, they're treacherous, they're dangerous, they're violent. With Taurus, it's calm, cool, solid, safe. And also understand, with the moon in Taurus, people tend to kind of go into those habits that they feel safe in. And that gives them, each person, a level of comfortability, with their emotional nature. So it helps people be calm. And so, as we kind of come into this energetic transition, it's kind of beautiful that we're in this new moon energy. It's not even as much as an eclipse energy, because the eclipse was exact at 29 degrees of Aries. So now we're just kind of in this new moon vibe of, and this will carry on, you know, for a while now. But now we're in this new moon vibe of Taurus energy. And so with this right here, it's just more or less like, hey, this allows you to be patient and ease into this next season. You feel me? And it's beautiful because this will carry into the weekend. And then even as we go into the weekend, then it'll, you know, the moon will transition into Gemini, and then it's not as much as a burst as it is as things kind of spread out in Gemini. Things really spread the fuck out. You just gotta make sure it don't get scattered too thin. But that's a whole different conversation that we might even get to discuss then. All right. Now, as far as the moon goes, the moon is gonna come into a conjunction later on this evening with Mercury and Uranus, and at the same time, it'll come into a sextile with Mars. And so, once again, this is still chill. And even with the moon being sextile to Mars, like, if you can find a way to creatively express your emotions, that could really help you deal with things in a more healthy manner. And that's what a beautiful sextile between the moon and Mars could do for you, because that gives you an outlet emotionally, so it doesn't come out angrily or passive aggressively as sometimes with that. And so with Taurus, that's definitely a creative outlet or a sexual outlet, or it's just something that you can chill and enjoy, that gives you a chance to be calm enough to express your emotions in that healthy way, which will keep them from getting in your way of your energetic expression. So just think about it like that. And then Mercury. Y'all want to talk about Mercury? So Mercury is at 15 degrees of Taurus right now, and it's stationed right now. It's a Flavor Boy exclusive. And it's gonna go to, I don't know if it's retrograde yet. It might already. I haven't even looked into it, and I don't want to lie to you. It might be retrograde today, or it goes retrograde tomorrow. And it might be at different times for each of us here all over the world, because the time does happen to hit different for all of us, because we all are here spread all over the world here as we're in this life. And so you know, with Mercury retrograde in Taurus, shit. Oh, this could be a lot of different stuff. First of all, you could be so worried about material things or money that you could miss the point sometimes. That's a thing that could come up with Mercury retrograde. Or you can see people that owe you money coming to ask you for money again, even though they haven't paid you the money that they owe you already. That's Mercury retrograde in Taurus. You can see things going so slow with Mercury retrograde in Taurus that you get frustrated. You can see people being so stubborn and not willing to make adjustments that you see errors and you see communication breakdowns. If you had, and people always want to talk about exes coming back. This is only relevant if you probably have somebody that you were involved with that has prominent Taurus placements, or that person emanated that Taurus type of vibe. All right. You can see the things that you enjoy right now, and you kind of getting stuck in that thing, that hedonistic mindset, or that hedonistic way of moving, that you won't be able to get a lot of stuff done. You'll be lazy. You can see people being lazy right now. Man, there's a lot with that. There's a lot with that. If there's gonna be any type of car accidents, it'll be because people are going too slow. Somebody might be going too slow in the fast lane. Somebody might be exiting and not getting out of the way fast enough. You have things like that, to where when things aren't evolving, or people are being stubborn, or if something doesn't want to get out of the way, then that could cause difficulties. With Mercury in Taurus and then going into that retrograde motion, it's going to be a lot harder for people to be nice. That's another thing. It's not so much as with Libra, but with Taurus people, this is still Venetian ruled, so people can be a lot more pleasant, and they can choose not to say things because they would rather not stir the pot. See, the best thing about Mercury in Taurus is Mercury in Taurus knows how to shut the fuck up more than any other sign. Like, they will not say anything at all. So it could even be harder for certain people to keep quiet. That's my jam. Yeah. Now, let's go ahead and talk about Venus, because we're going to have 3 weeks to talk about Mercury being in retrograde. So, well, wait. Mercury is conjunct to Uranus, and I want to make sure that y'all understand that. before I go any further. I forgot to say that. So let me turn this down a little bit. With Mercury retrograde coming into a conjunction with Uranus, what would usually be brilliance right now, as far as financial stuff, what ends up happening is little shit comes up, that little bitty expenses come up that you have to deal with that kind of knock you off your game, or it feels like it's knocking you off your game. Like, there it is with that, because Uranus is in Taurus, Mercury is in Taurus, Uranus falls in Taurus, Mercury doesn't do so great in Taurus. So with both of those right there, like what you see is like just little bitty shit coming up that just, you know, or expenses coming up that start to accumulate, that start to frustrate you. And so it could be all kinds of stuff just coming up out of the blue all of a sudden. All kinds of stuff. Like this morning, for me, myself, I went here to go get my speakers ready for me to do this live, because I have a certain speaker that I use when I'm in the live session. And I go to pick it up, and when I pick it up, it just fell all the way apart. And I'm like, man, what the heck? And then I realized my kids done dropped it and broke it, and nobody told me because they didn't want to get in trouble. And I, as a person who's been a child before, I understand that. But that's an expense that I'm gonna have to take care of, and it's small, but it's one I'm gonna have to. We have to take the dog to the vet today. I mean, there's just little bitty expenses that come up and they start to accumulate, and you have to, you know, you have to take care of it. And so with Mercury conjunct to Uranus over these next few days, I would definitely be wary of what you're doing financially and how much you're spending, because things are liable to come up that you better make sure that you can compensate for. And so if you're good in both areas where you can handle an unexpected expense and still be able to enjoy yourself, then hey, more power to you. But there's going to be some times where you might have to choose to chill, because you have to be ready, you know, stay ready to keep from having to get ready. And so just remember that. And then Venus is at 10 degrees of Gemini, man. And what's funner than Venus being in Gemini? This is flirtatious. This is vivacious. This is bombastic. Yeah, that's my word. I love that word. But, and hey, Venus in Gemini loves words too. But like, look, man, with Venus in Gemini, it's like, if you can stimulate the mind, there's a lot more that could follow behind. See, conversation rules the nation. And you could even see people getting involved with other people purely for the information that it provides. And that doesn't have to mean nefariously. It's just like, man, your intelligence is so sexy to me. Talk to me like that. But there's also this thing where boredom can be a problem. If you're doing the same old shit and you feel like your relationship has gotten stagnant, then this could actually be a time where your relationship might have to face some type of conflict or difficulty. And the people that are going to make it through this time the most effectively are the people that are willing to make adjustments, and people that are willing to, you know, keep it interesting. Because with Venus in Gemini, you got to keep it interesting or keep it moving. It's not like with Sagittarius. Sagittarius is like, the grass kind of always seems better next door. It's not like that with Gemini. Gemini actually is a little bit more loyal to that. Sagittarius is loyal to principles, where Gemini might not be as loyal to principles. But when it comes to people, Gemini has a certain affection for people that Sagittarius might not have because of the big picture perspective. And so Sagittarius could be looking at a situation while Gemini could be interested in a person. And so just understand right now, there could also be some instances where people are kind of feeling like another person is more interesting to them than they've ever been before. They're starting to notice people that they didn't notice before, and they're hearing them talk, and they're like, man, how fucking arrogant. You know, it's a little something to them. They start to notice this. People's mental capacity becomes a little bit sexier. And so things become more interesting than they used to be. And so that causes people to be a little bit more flirtatious and a little bit more open to experiences with people that they didn't even pay attention to before. But it's just because here, the mind is being stimulated. And with the mind being stimulated, with Venus being in Gemini, it makes people notice things in their environment or with people that they might not necessarily paid attention to or took heed to before. And so have fun, but also don't get yourself into any type of jam, all right, because of something that's just for the moment. Kate Jarvis from Melbourne, Australia, what's up with it? But yeah, man, just understand, like, there's a lot of stuff that goes on with Gemini that could be like, hey, man, this is just in the moment. This is for the moment. And so it's cool to flirt, but if y'all get down and happen to roll in the dirt, that could cause problems. So just with everything in Taurus, also with this, make sure everything is worth it in every expression that you kind of emit from your energy. All right? And then, Mars. Mars is now at 13 degrees of Cancer. And so with Mars at 13 degrees of Cancer, it's like this. You have to make sure that you are giving yourself the right space emotionally to deal with your moods, so your moods don't get in the way of your energetic expression. Because if you're not dealing with your feelings the right way with Mars in Cancer, then guess what? Everything you do is going to be influenced by your mood and by your feelings of the moment. And so nothing is going to come to the surface directly. And what you need to do is always going to get frustrated in this, because you're having to spend so much energy dealing with your feelings that you don't have enough for you to really do what you need to do. And so you have to incorporate other ways of you getting the things that you need to get done, whether it be indirectly or passive aggressively or however that be. So do yourself a favor and get out your motherfucking feelings. And the only way to do that is deal with them on your own time. So it doesn't cause a conflict with everybody else. Even though I'm a Cancer, I have Mars in Capricorn. So that Mars in Cancer shit, like, that's one of those. And even with my Mars being the 4th house, that's just the area of life it plays out. It's nothing like Mars in Cancer. And me having Mars in Capricorn and me knowing people with Mars in Cancer, like, and me dealing with them, I see, like, I'm not as passive aggressive as a lot of Cancers are. Now, I'm also not necessarily the most straight up person either. That's true. But like with me having my Mars in Capricorn, like when I want to do something, when my will is there, like I have the energy that I need to do. I don't play no games. I'm gonna do it, and I'm unstoppable, and I don't fucking lose. But Mars in Cancer worries and waits and feelings, and then nothing gets done. Because all the energy gets taken up dealing with the feelings. Shit. Fucking. But it is what it is. Now, Jupiter. Jupiter is at 23 degrees of Aries now. And hey, with Jupiter at 23 degrees of Aries, I'm going to tell you, like I've told you, when Jupiter is at 22 degrees of Aries and 21 degrees of Aries and 19 degrees of Aries and 10 degrees of Aries. Hey, this right here is about conscious effort. See, awareness is at an all-time high with Jupiter here. And that awareness allows you to take action consciously. Now, also understand there is a certain awareness of self here that could be selfish. And one could get so focused with the self that they kind of see their path run into conflicts with other people's path.
Oh yeah, oh boy, this shit banging.
Well, the thing with that is in your awareness, you also have to learn to be aware of what's going on around you, not just what you desire. And so, Jupiter in Aries is about conscious effort. If you can move consciously, then you can be blessed in doing so. You can make things happen that you would never be able to make happen before. Nah, but you do have to take an action.
Oh boy, you went
Yep.
this one.
And then Saturn. Saturn is now at 4 degrees of Pisces. And hey. What's up, Aries ascendant? And hey, with Saturn here in Pisces, man, like, with this right here, you got to be careful. You got to be careful because the past can have too much of an influence on the way that you're perceiving the current situation that you're in. And it also can have too much of an influence on your projections into the future. So it can make you kind of lose hope. And besides that, with Saturn in Pisces, what you also are going to see is you're going to see the curtain get pulled back on certain stuff. Whatever it may be. And in seeing that happen, and in you seeing things from this perspective, it could also cause you to lose hope. With Saturn in Pisces, Kane, what's up with it? With Saturn in Pisces, you're going to be presented with situations and people that you've been avoiding for a long time. And understand, this is Pisces. There is an opportunity to heal, but it ain't going to be easy. You know why it ain't going to be easy? It's going to be hard because you've always trying to avoid it, escape it, ignore it. The shit that you don't want to deal with is going to come find you during this time. Whether it be your own reputation, whether it be your own habits, whether it be your own addictions, whether it be your own lack of faith. All of that shit. This is a time of confrontation, especially as the North Node is going to transition this summer into Aries. See, Saturn will retrograde at the end of the summer, just around the same time that the North Node will start transitioning into Aries. And so when Saturn goes back direct and the North Node is in Aries, we're going to be faced with stuff that we have to confront in our lives. There will be no escape. You will not have a chance to ignore it. Hey, baby. Sorry, the dog woke up. Come here, baby. Anyway. And, this is just your chance to heal certain situations, heal certain relationships, heal certain habits, heal certain addictions. This is your chance to really grow and get past certain things. But in order to do so, you have to confront it. And being forced to deal with stuff that you don't want to deal with, and being forced to cope with things that you've been trying to ignore, can make you want to lose hope. When the people that you believe in get the curtain peeled back on their ass and they're not what you always thought they were, that can make you feel some type of way and make you want to lose hope. So Saturn in Pisces is going to teach us all over time how to cope with things more healthily and how to find the inspiration inside of ourselves, because there might not always be hope in external things. I know that's what I'm learning. And Nana Powers, you said, is that especially true for those with Pisces placement? It's a good time for us to face themselves and heal, but Pisces people especially. Possibly, yeah. Most definitely. Just, you know, a lot of the illusions and a lot of the facades that we either hide behind or we have built up for ourselves as defense mechanisms could probably get pierced right now. And, you know, a lot of the things that we do and try to ignore are going to keep getting presented to our face right now, because this is just a time in our life where, hey man, there's going to be things that you have to deal with, and there's going to be things that you have to face, and there's going to be you know, stuff that you have to learn how to heal instead of just trying to avoid. So there's that. And then with Uranus, you know, Uranus is at 17 degrees of Taurus, and we've been talking about Uranus being in Taurus for a long time, man. So just means we're in fucking crazy ass times, man, and that's gonna affect us all financially, you know, whether it be because of the natural disasters, whether it be because of pandemics, whether it be because of global conflicts, whatever it is, it's real hard for us to feel stable. Things are really just shaky, and things are ever changing and evolving and chaotic. Nothing is still or the same. Nothing is just staying. Everything is fluctuating. Everything is changing. You can't get a grasp of what the market is going to do next. And so because of that, and everything being so trendy and everything being so influenced by different outside external things, like, you have to assess your own personal situation constantly and try to always find solid footing for yourself. And so, you know, understand Uranus does always bring a certain uniqueness into the mix, and it does bring a certain, you know, a certain individualized energy as far as the electric aspect of it being involved there. And then we got Neptune at 26 degrees of Pisces. And we've been talking about that for a long time too. So with Neptune in Pisces, like, real just ain't real no more. First of all, what the fuck is real? Reality ain't even reality. And we actually, by every new platform we create, we actually add a different fabric or a different layer to our nature of reality. And, you know, instead of people having compassion, people take pictures. It's just a really crazy ass time we live in. And more than anything else, it's confusing. And everybody's a brand. And what's really going on really doesn't matter. What's posted and what you see in particular of what's posted is what matters. Because there could be several different things posted. Even like the situation that we talked about the time with the Dalai Lama, which I have to apologize because that shit was nasty as hell that he did. And like, there's no way that he can clean that up and then say, oh, that's a practice we do and all that shit. No, we not with that. Fuck that. But before that, all I saw was an article, and it was people that were kind of taking up for him. So I myself I didn't take up for him, but I was like, well, maybe it's not what they're making it expect, and why would he do that in public? And you know, I started thinking, and then I just thought he's an old ass man, and he exposed himself. That's what happens with old ass men. Like. And so when you see certain things, like whether it be that or this or this or that, what really happened doesn't matter. What's posted and then what you see personally of what's posted is what really matters. More rappers have gotten famous for getting killed than they have for their actual talent. Out of all of these rappers that y'all hear getting killed in the last few years, most of them were people that you did not listen to or you really didn't know anything about, other than, you know, the real prominent ones, the Takeoff and everybody like that. That's different. But, you know, a lot of these people were dudes that you never knew anything about until they got killed. Got posted. Crazy as it is.
Sky.
Everybody's looking to go viral. Everybody takes and copies everybody else. You post something, I'm gonna steal what you posted and I'm gonna post it again because I think I'm gonna get a better reaction than you did. It's crazy. Even I can't just react to your shit. I have to take what you posted and then post it myself. Might even block you from seeing it. What's up, Brooklyn Sunshine? But yeah, might even block you from seeing it. Just because I think I might get a better reaction than you did. And you just got that from somebody else too. Blueface, that girl he go with, they are not talented in any way, form, or fashion. Ain't got no type of respect for themselves, but they are famous and they are, in a lot of ways, idolized because of the culture. You have damn near a gender war going on over Andrew Tate, and he don't even fucking matter. Like we live in some crazy ass times, man. Some confusing ass times. So what you have to do is trust the divine part of you that knows better. Separate yourself from the rest of that shit. Like, hey, man. There is something inside of you that doesn't get confused by external things. Like, Mr. Chambliss, there is lots of original things under the sun. You have original thoughts all the time. There are people that are so unique and so original. There are unique creations and unique things that are being created every freaking second. But even more than that, you have everybody copying everybody. CC Cash, what's cracking? Now, we also have Pluto now at 0 degrees of Aquarius. And it won't, and since retrograde season is about to get started, it won't be long until Pluto goes retrograde. It won't be long. And so, with Pluto in Aquarius, this is the universe forcing you to have an open mind. Hold on, I'll be right back. I got a lot of incense. Hold on. But yeah, things are gonna happen that are gonna make you radically change your mindset. Just like that. It's happened to me, so I know it can happen to you. It's already happened to me. It's gonna happen. Like one day, I always did things a certain way. And maybe it's because it's in direct aspect to my Mercury. So that's what's going on with me. But one day I did and I handled people a certain way. The next day, hey, that was no longer going to be acceptable for me. And I learned the hard way. I went through a thing where I was handling people a certain way on social media, and I was talking to people a certain way, and then somebody came at me and kind of talked to me, and somebody came in, and then at the same time, like I was going through something in my life that was like, you know, made me be like, bro, you can't do that anymore. Like, that's not how you talk to people. That's not how you handle things, and you are limiting yourself. And you are keeping yourself from learning a lot of stuff because you're being such a fucking pompous asshole and you act like you know everything. And while I am great at what I do and I am the best at this, y'all know there's still so much more I can learn. And sometimes I get into this mindset to where it's like, man, you can't tell me shit. Like, I know you ain't trying, like, and I'm not talking about you, but I'm talking about you. I know you ain't trying to tell me nothing. Like, you think you could tell me something? And I have Mercury in Leo, and that's the problem. And so, over time, over these last few months, it's just kind of been like, man, like, I've had a dude that was reading my chart be like, hey, bro, you need to be more diplomatic. And I was like, why are you saying that to me? And I kind of got offended, and I stopped talking to him. But then later, I was like, damn, that was God or the universe talking to me. Like, I'm an astrologer, and I expect people to respect me. But this man just read my chart to a T and did a damn good job of it. And then he was just giving me some advice. And then as soon as he tried to give me some advice other than just reading the placement, I took offense to it, or I shut it down. And the advice he was giving me was exactly what I needed to hear about our own personal situation. Like, hey, man. And so I've had to learn how to put my own prideful ways to the side and listen to other people more and be more empirical in my observations. Like, it just cannot be my way or the highway anymore. Hold up. That's plain and simple. So, whatever situation, and I'll have plenty more aspects with Pluto here. But whatever you have going on in your life, just know that there might be a point here where you're going to have to look at things completely differently. And where you will look at things completely differently. So if shit feels fucked up, and you feel stuck, keep trying different things, because guess what? You're going to hit on something that really changes everything for you. But even before that, you might have to face a certain destruction of your stubborn mindset that you were stuck in before. See, Pluto does bring destruction sometimes, but when it does destruct, it builds up more powerfully. Not in the same way that Saturn does. See, I heard another astrologer say, they said, Mars will fuck you up for a few days. Saturn will fuck you up for a few years. But Pluto will fuck you up for life. And so, when you think about it like that, in the same way, Mars can empower you for a little bit. Saturn can solidify you and empower you for a while and for the long run. But Pluto will change you. Pluto will change you forever. Once you face Pluto, you are forever changed. So with this right here, just understand, with Pluto at 0 degrees of Aquarius, there's going to be something that comes up at some time in the next 20 years that is going to change the way that you see things completely and forever. Just make sure that doesn't kill you. It doesn't have to kill you in the process. Now, Chiron is at 16 degrees of Aries, and with Chiron at 16 degrees of Aries, look, if Jupiter in Aries is about conscious effort, this is about accountable action. This means you have to do something, but you also have to be aware of what you're doing. I don't know, Mr. C, I don't know enough about European football for me to speak on which one at a Ronaldo or Messi. I watch American football, so I to be honest with you, I wouldn't know, and I don't want to speak on something that I don't know, and I know people take that very seriously, so I would never be disrespectful of either, and talk out of the side of my neck. Now, with Chiron here, and when I'm talking about accountable action, this means, hey, through the awareness that comes with Chiron being in Aries, you're able to hold yourself accountable for every action that you take. You can hold yourself accountable for the place that you're in currently in your life, and you can also hold yourself accountable for whether or not you're doing something about it. And both of those present you with opportunities to take action towards growth. All right? Now, Lilith. Lilith is now at 11 degrees of Leo. And that's interesting to me personally because my Venus is at 12 degrees of Leo. So I got Lilith conjunct my Venus, conjunct my chart ruler. And I ain't gonna behave. But anyway, with Lilith and Leo, man, like I said a million times, like, just understand pride comes before the fall. But confidence is also key to empowerment. And you don't have to make things more dramatic than they have to be with this right here. Keep that in mind as well. Now, the North Node is at 4 degrees of Taurus. So that means the South Node is at 4 degrees of Scorpio. Just chill. I ain't saying be still, but I'm saying chill and be patient. Value the life that you have. Enjoy every step of the journey. Don't make things more chaotic on yourself than they have to be. Don't be chasing a feeling and put yourself in danger. Because it could happen to any one of us. We've seen it happen to some of the best of us. If you do drugs, man, that shit is no longer safe. Not like it was safe before, but hey, other than cannabis, like you playing with your life. Fucking with that boy or that girl, either one. You fuck around, get some fucking fentanyl. Taking pills, you fuck around, get some fucking fentanyl. Like, you might as well chill. Value the life that you have. If you're doing better than you used to be, you have no business going back to where you came from. I did it to myself. I've been doing better for years. I had my situation. I jumped and ran to Texas. That was not fair. that was not fair to my growth. That was not fair to my spirituality. I unnecessarily tested myself, and I shouldn't have done that. I'm lucky to survive because there are people that haven't. Like, is that real? It is that real. Better sit your ass down somewhere. And as far as aspects go, the last aspect that I think there is going on is Saturn is sextile to the North Node here, and that means it's trine to the South Node. So with Saturn in Pisces, sextile to the North Node, I love and appreciate you too. It's like this. With Scorpio, you can make things more complicated. With Scorpio and Pisces, there is definitely certain toxic habits that are really hard to get away from. And it's so easy to fall into those toxic ways when we're faced with shit that we don't want to deal with. See, that's the trine. It's so easy. That trine between Saturn and the South Node. That trine between Pisces and Scorpio. It's so easy to fall into those old ways, that whole habit to go chase a certain feeling. Or you can stand firm and just deal with it. Stay solid. That's not easy. You got to choose to stay solid. Remember that. And Nana Powers, I believe I do. I do have videos explaining it, but I'm done with the aspects, so I can actually explain it to you now. And so the floor is now open for questions that anybody may have. And we'll keep the floor open for at least 45 more minutes. So we're going to be here for a whole second. And then I got to go. I got to take my dog to the vet. Now, a square. What a square is, and I explain this a lot actually. All right, Kate Jarvis. Sweet dreams. Now, keep it trill in Australia for us. But what a square is a 90-degree angle, and what you have are proximity squares, and you have what they call which means they could be out of modality, or you have squares that are in true squares, which are in modality and within proximity. And so a proximity square means that it's within the degree range, but it's not necessarily within the modality. A regular square or a true square is going to mean that it's not only 90 degrees, but it's going to be, both of them are going to be in immutable energy, or both of them both of those placements are going to be in a fixed signs, or both of them are going to be in cardinal signs. I got you, young God. Hold on, let me answer this question for her though. And if I miss anybody's question, just ask again or hit that super chat, and I'll never miss your question. But so that's what a square is, and a square is going to represent a harsh or a hard aspect, and it's probably the harshest or the hardest. A square is probably the only true negative aspect that there is. Opposition isn't always negative, because an opposition just requires balance, and sometimes opposites attract and opposites work well together. Like, you know, there's certain times where opposition is going to work out beautifully in a chart, but that square is always going to represent a conflict, and that square is going to be kind of representative of two people that do not like each other, two people that ain't never fuck with each other. They don't really rock the, you know, they don't really rock the same, and they don't really rock the same, and they basically are forced to deal with each other, or they're forced to be in the same place. They're forced to have to interact. And so you know there's going to be a fight or a conflict. Now, they actually could work well together because they're both very powerful, or they both in their own way have a lot to bring to the table. But before they can bring whatever they have to bring to the table together, they have to come to some type of understanding, and that understanding is usually going to have to be some type of conflict. So with the square, you have to learn how to deal with that energy. You have to make that conflict work, and then that square can be actually one of the most powerful positive aspects there can be. But you have to deal with the conflict between them. And then a trine is going to be the most harmonious aspect. And a trine is going to be like when they're both water signs. They're going to be both an element, or they're both fire signs, or they're both earth signs, or they're both air signs. Or you can have them in proximity, which I think a trine is like 120 degrees. And so with that trine, what you see is like a natural flowing of energy. It's like, I fuck with you, you fuck with me, we best friends, we like to work together, and we finna get it in, we finna enjoy getting it in, like everything finna go great. That's how a trine is. Like, it's two energies that work well together, they understand each other, they're a lot alike, you know, and it's just like, it's a natural flow. It's the easiest way for them to just do their thing together. It's just the natural thing in the world is for them to work together. And so it just makes it very harmonious. It makes it flow easy. It's the most harmonious. Whereas a sextile is also harmonious, but a sextile is just like, I don't really know you, you don't really know me, but I don't have a problem with you, and you don't have a problem with me, so we can, you know, we can chill, like we can work, we cool. You know what I'm saying? We actually can work really good if we choose to. Or we don't have to work together, but we don't have a problem with each other either. And so that's just kind of how it goes with that. Like a sextile is like, hey, we don't have to work together, but we don't have to have a problem with each other. Whereas if we do choose to work together, we're going to work excellent. Now, a conjunction is going to be when two energies are in the exact same place. And with those energies being in the exact same place, they create a new energy together. So a conjunction is not always going to be positive. Sometimes you're forcing things into the same place that don't necessarily, that what comes out of it isn't always what you want to come out of it. And then in opposition, like, that's not always unharmonious, because in opposition, like I said, sometimes opposites attract, and sometimes with an opposition, the best thing is for those two opposite sides to do their own thing and work together. And it's just that, like with Cancer and Capricorn, like that is one of those oppositions that, in essence, they might seem like there's a conflict of interest, but no, really, they work well because they both bring this different dynamic to the table. And so there's that. Now, Earthshaker 9th Avatar, you asked me about a YOD. A YOD is harder to explain without drawing, and I don't want to do a whole bunch of drawing, but because I would have to really, like, draw you the angles. But a YOD is basically made up of a couple of quincunx or inconjunctions and sextiles, or two sextiles and an inconjunction, and it makes that YOD aspect in the chart. There's like a that's what it is. Now, what's up, Kurt? And then, who else did I miss? Did I miss anybody's question? Oh, Young God, you said transit sun conjunct your natal moon. This is just a time where you're comfortable in your own skin. With the sun conjunct your natal moon, like, you cool, calm, collected, and you're comfortable in your own skin, and that allows you to handle whatever comes your way in life right now for these next couple of days. So that's a beautiful thing in its own. And then who else did I miss? Oh, Kenny Pooh. You said, do the North and the South Node work the same way as an opposition? I heard you mention in one of my charts that Cancer and Capricorn work good together. How would one work with the two energies? I mean, Cancer and Capricorn, you look at them like parents, like, a mom and even though they're Capricorn is feminine also, but you just look at them like, in one expression, one is more nurturing while the other one is more responsible. And like with Aries and Libra, that can work well sometimes, because Libra is willing to let Aries take that lead in a certain way, while Libra is more influential from a mental standpoint. And Gemini and Sagittarius can have a lot of fun. So there's different ways, There are different ways that all of those oppositions work out. Now, the North and the South Node are always going to be opposite to each other, and they don't. What you need to do, in essence, is use that things that you're good at and the natural skills that the South Node has employed you with in order to go towards your North Node in this life. See, you're gonna have people say, "Well, you need to get away from your South Node." You can't get away from your South Node. That's a part of your nature. You've brought that with you from lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. You've built that up in you. You're not escaping your South Node. You can't get away from Ketu. It is a natural part of your character. So what you do is you utilize the natural skills and talents that you have to help you go towards the North Node and develop new ways of achieving things in your life. That's the thing with the North and the South Node. A sextile is harmonious. It's not really neutral. I'll tell you what's more neutral. A quincunx or inconjunction is considered harsh or unharmonious or bad. but it's actually just neutral. It's what I would call a growth aspect. The same thing with the sesquadrant. All of those inconjunctions just really represent infamiliarities. An inconjunction is an aspect, like a quincux. An inconjunction is going to represent two signs or two placements that have nothing in common. They're not the same modality. They're not both. One is going to be masculine, the other one is going to be feminine. They're not going to be the same element. They're not going to have anything in common whatsoever. And so the key to working with the quincux or in conjunction is to figuring out how you can make them work together. It's not really a negative aspect. It's just like figuring out how do you deal with this. Now, Kurt, you said, what are my thoughts on North Node in Scorpio in the 8th house? You're a Pisces rising, but Aries is intercepted in your 1st house, and your progressed moon is in Scorpio right now too. So my thoughts on your North Node in Scorpio in the 8th house. Then you're in a very transformative time in your life. Or, I mean, if your natal North Node is in Scorpio, well, you can't be, it has to be your natal North Node. I just realized that what I was saying. So, yeah, your North Node is in Scorpio in the 8th house. You're going to go through a lot of stuff that's constantly changing, really intense stuff that really makes you rise to the occasion, and it's going to make you to constantly be evolving and constantly being changing as a person. And like you're not the same type of person that you were 6 months ago. 6 months ago, you're not the same type of person you were a year before that, and so on and so forth. Like you're always evolving, you're always changing, you're always having these intense moments that bring out the best in you. And when that brings out the best in you, you now have become a new creature. And also, you know, you have intense relationships and you have intense experiences with people sexually and intimately. And like anybody that you're involved with, like you have a very, very deep bond with them. Or if not, you don't know them and they don't exist at all. So people are either extremely important to you and central to your life, or they don't exist to you at all with your North Node in Scorpio in the 8th house. And then there's also this thing where like your life has been a life of extremes. And it's taught you to really rise to occasions whenever something comes up, and it's kept you from really being able to get a comfortable footing, but also that stability of having your South Node in Scorpio in the 2nd house, that stability that comes from that stability of character and that financial stability allows you, you know, the tools you need to greet everything that happens in your life and be calm and assess it with a level head. And so all of that is just like a tremendous gift. And so your life is definitely interesting. King Strong, you said Jupiter is now transiting your 11th house in Aries. How does that affect you? Well, one, if Jupiter's in your 11th house in Aries, you could take actions to make more money. And like you could get out and meet more people and make new friends. Like both of those are things that could happen. Like if you're willing to take control of your situation or take things into your own hands, you actually have opportunity for you to see some more gains and for you to make more profit for yourself. And then there's also a chance to where if you're bored or your life is in a place where you're tired of being around the same old stuff, where you can actually make new friends if you're willing to take the action and the steps towards doing so. So that's beautiful in its own right. And then Cynthia Renee, you said, what would I say about having Taurus Saturn in the 8th house? Having Saturn in Taurus in the 8th house means that, you know, even you've lived a crazy life, and the way that you protect yourself against all the shit that happens is you kind of just always are stacking up money. Like the way you guard against the outside world and against having to depend on anybody else is you just stacking up money and just getting money and sticking to yourself, because you don't want to be dependent on anybody else for nothing. And so because of that, you're always fucking chasing money. But also, because of that same thing, with this being in the 8th house, people become dependent on you for money. And so that's what happens with Saturn in the 8th house. Is there's going to be this a time in your life, or for most of your life anyway, to where because you're so responsible and you handle things a certain way, like motherfuckers be just depending on you for money. Like people be sapping, like your friendships and your relationships be fucking taking your pocketbook more than anything else. Like it costs you fucking money to be in a relationship with somebody. And sometimes you're like, why am I always having to pay this? And why is this? And why is that? You know what I'm saying? But it's because you have Saturn in the 8th house. And so that's what ends up happening. Is having Saturn in the 8th house is like you always end up being, especially with Taurus, being financially responsible for something that you didn't want to be financially responsible for. And it's just because you are financially responsible. Sucks, huh? You probably got a Saturn in the 2nd house, motherfucker like me. Need some help. We need some help. For real. Shoot me something. What's up with it, Taekwondo? Did I miss anybody else's questions? No, I think that's it. Oh, no, Nana Powers, you said you have Pluto in Scorpio. Is that the same thing as having Scorpio in the 8th house? No. Pluto in Scorpio is the generational aspect. We all, like, there's most of us that have Pluto in Scorpio. Anybody, well, Pluto in Scorpio was one of the shortest times. Anybody born from 1984 or 85 to 1997, they have Pluto in Scorpio. I think, or is it 1984 to 1995? Somewhere, one of them. That's Pluto in Scorpio. But yeah, man. I got... Nah, you said you have Pluto in Scorpio in the 7th house. What does that mean? It means you always have karmic relationships. It means that, like, you've been in some really, really intense relationships a lot of times in this lifetime, and it's like every relationship that you've been in has like forced you to grow in some way or forced you to change your life in some way. And if not, it seems like all of your relationships have been like a string of repeat performances. Like it's been the same thing over and over again. And it's like once you learn that lesson and you realize that, you have a whole different type of motherfucker that you fucking with. And then you keep getting presented with these lessons over and over again until you learn that. And so your relationships kind of make this cauldron that presents you with an opportunity for you to see things that you need to work on about you. And so every relationship you have ends up being karmic. And you've been in some abusive relationships, some toxic relationships, all of that shit right there. But all of it really is doing is helping you evolve in your perspective and helping you, those relationships are helping you really change and helping you grow in your perspective. My Jupiter is not in Cancer, Mystic Raven Medicine. My Jupiter is in Pisces. My Jupiter is in Pisces in my 6th house. I do not have Jupiter in Cancer. I don't know where you got there, but I have Jupiter in Pisces. My Sun is in Cancer. Gabby, you said Juno conjunct Sedna in the 9th house. I don't know what Sedna is at all. I don't follow. I'm a traditional astrologer, so I don't really follow all of those. I don't know if that's an asteroid or whatever Sedna is, but that whatever it is, it's not that important. I promise you. I'm not ruling out all asteroids because Juno, Vesta, Ceres, Pallas Athena, Chiron, Charliclo, those centaurs and those right there are definitely gonna play a big role, but not everything else does. So no, I don't know what Sedna is. So yeah, 1984 through 1995, Pluto was in Scorpio. Thank you, Ember Dawn. But I can answer anything you want to know other than that. But Sedna, I don't even know what Sedna is. And I've been doing this for a long time, and I've heard of a lot of asteroids. Excuse me. Now, let me see what else we got. Kenny Pooh, you said your Pluto being in the 7th house. Ooh. In Sagittarius, does it affect your relationships? Yes. Pluto being in the 7th house in Sagittarius is all about your relationships. Like, you always think the next situation, especially with Pluto and Sagittarius in the 7th, like, you always think the next situation is going to be the best situation, Kenny. Yeah, somebody on that bullshit, and y'all know I'm allergic. But yeah, you know who's on that bullshit? Kenny Pooh. Kenny Pooh is on that bullshit. As soon as she said she had Pluto and Sagittarius in the 7th house, I knew she was on that bullshit. Because you don't want to settle down, because you always, like, you'll get into something and you be loyal to certain, but then you'll see something that, like, hold up. No, that's the one. This is one, but that's the one. And then motherfucker kick to the curb. Motherfucker, you'll kick a nigga to the curb with the quickness. Like, I already know what Pluto and Sagittarius in the 7th house. That's what, you be like, this is one, but that's the one. And now you done broke this motherfucker heart. Now he's stalking you. He mad because you went next up. Like, man, I know. And it ain't them, it's you. You can't hide from me. Oh yeah, see, you'll move on so motherfucking fast it ain't even funny. Pluto in the 7th in Libra is a lot like that. I'm gonna be real with you. Pluto in the 7th in Libra is not the same as Sagittarius, because Sagittarius will move on honestly. Pluto in the 7th in Libra will be in a relationship with both of y'all. Because they want to be nice. Yeah. Yeah, I know. No, I'm just playing, but Pluto in the 7th house in Libra, what that can be is you can be stuck in certain toxic situations that you don't need to be in for too long, because you can't speak up. You don't speak up for yourself, or you don't do, you know what I'm saying? Like, you could be in a relationship that you're not committed to, or be involved with somebody that you're not committed to, because you're not willing to, assert yourself in that certain situation. And so what ends up happening is that relationship ends up putting you through a lot of experiences that kind of force you to grow and evolve, because you weren't willing to get away from it or separate yourself from it. And so that relationship kind of ends up being, that motherfucking catalyst that's needed to make you grow. And it's like, man, you don't want to be in that relationship. You're not even, well, it's not even that you're not loyal to that person. You're loyal to the relationship with Pluto in the 7th in Libra. Like, you're the type of person who ends up being loyal to a relationship where your affection for that person is not there anymore. And so that relationship ends up being a catalyst that makes you keep being presented with situations that you either have to grow, and then when you do move on, it'll be such a release that, like, you have really learned your lesson. And so each one is different, but like with Sagittarius, there is this thing where they want to keep looking on the other side. And then with Scorpio, it's abusive and toxic relationships. Like with Pluto in the 7th in Scorpio, like they keep getting in hey, my lady has it, but they keep getting in these toxic relationships with people, like, you know, and whether it be abusive or with drug addicts or with people that, you know, aren't you know, that aren't loyal to them or whatever. And it's just like, they have to figure out why they're attracted to that and why they keep allowing that into their life. And maybe a lot has to do with it because they're not really being honest and they have ulterior motives and they have stuff going on. So as they kind of mature and evolve and change into a different person, they see them start to have more healthy relationships because they are attracting things that are like self. And so, you know, with that, and then with Capricorn, for our kids with Capricorn, like, you're gonna have people that ain't wanting to settle down as much. And, you know, with Pluto and people, you do have people that are a lot more faithful. Like, you have seen in the last, you know, at least 15, 20 years, to where, in a certain sense, because of the nature of femininity taking on a lot more aggressive hue, you've seen people that energy be more assertive about what it needs. And so it does cut some of the bullshit out. Now let me get back to this. Nilsa Toledo, you said you have a lot of Uranus placements, but you have not a lot of info on it. What you mean you have a lot of Uranus placements? You only have one Uranus placement in your chart. You can have a lot of placements that are ruled by Uranus or aspected by Uranus, but you can ask me anything you want. You want to look at and talk about Uranus? We're there. I reckon. Anyway. Kenny Pooh, you said, why is Taurus in your 12th house with Aries? And Taurus is your ascendant. It's Placidus. Taurus is there. Aries rules your 12th house, but Taurus is also there. What else we got? Tina Clara Marie. How you doing? You said Pluto square Capricorn ascendant. So Pluto in Libra square your Capricorn ascendant. Well, you first of all, with Pluto square your ascendant, well, this life is certainly gonna have its ups and downs for you. That's the first thing. And it depends on if Pluto's square your ascendant in your 4th house or in your 10th house. That's a big thing. Because if Pluto square your ascendant in your 1st house, then like you feel like your family kind of keeps you from growing, and you're always having to take responsibility for people in your family, and that kind of keeps you and that keeps you. Now in your 10th house, when you have Pluto in your 10th house, and it's square to your Capricorn ascendant. So Pluto in Libra in the 10th house, square to your Capricorn ascendant. Well, first of all, you take things too seriously. Like, you take things so seriously that it hinders your people skills sometimes. Tina Clara Marie. And you have to learn how to delegate. If you really want to succeed, you're gonna have to learn how to delegate at some point in your life, and that's gonna be big to your success. Because you take on so much, and you don't really speak up for yourself, that sometimes you can take on more than you can accomplish, or you can end up accepting responsibilities that aren't really your responsibilities, and then it's hard for you to take care of what you really need to take care of. And so with Pluto there's going to be some point where you go through some changes that make you assert yourself and make you learn how to delegate, and also make you be able to, you know, incorporate both your will and your seriousness and your people skills into you being a really successful person. There's more billionaires that are Libras than anything else. So when you have Pluto in Libra in your 10th house and then a Capricorn ascendant, you're basically destined for success. And I'm talking about CEO status, really being somebody who can be in charge of some stuff. But in order for you to really take care of stuff efficiently, you're going to have to learn how to do that healthily. And a lot of that is about learning how to delegate. It's about developing your people skills without being a doormat. There's just so much that goes in with that. And so, good luck. And Nana Powers, you said, what does Placidus mean? Because you said you see that your Pluto is in Scorpio and in the 7th house, but under Placidus, it says Scorpio is in your 8th house. Your Pluto can still, in Placidus, your Pluto can still be in Scorpio in your 7th house and still have Placidus and still have Scorpio ruled in your 8th house. Placidus is the natural flowing of energies. It means nothing is equal or whole. It's just where it's supposed to be. Placidus is ever evolving, moving, flowing. And so you can have interceptions and you can have things going on with Placidus that you might not see with equal house or a whole sign. And some people prefer whole sign or equal house because they feel like it's easier to understand, but it's not more accurate. Placidus is most accurate. So young God, you said Mars conjunct Jupiter in Sagittarius, sextile your Libra ascendant. So these are in your 3rd house, right? Mars conjunct Jupiter in Sagittarius in your 3rd house, sextile your Libra ascendant. Well, first of all, that tells me you're an honest person and you're straight up and you have a positive energy to you. So that makes people want to be around you, and it makes you more of a, you know, it makes you a more charming person. Like your honesty and your genuinity and your positivity, it really makes people want to be in your presence, and it just makes you have even greater people skills because you don't really let much get you down. And you probably have a really awesome way with words with that, without being deceitful. Like you can captivate people with your speech, but you're also not somebody that comes across like you're trying to sell them something. And you can also push propaganda too, though, because of that. Now, Tina Clara Marie. Hold on. Nana Powers, you said your Pluto is in Scorpio sextile to your Capricorn North Node. What does that mean? That means if you work hard, you can make the changes that are necessary to make your life better. I mean, that's what, I don't know what houses they're in, and I don't, you know, but that's what it means. Like Pluto and Scorpio is there. So if you're willing to put whatever you put 100% into, like that's done with Pluto and Scorpio. That's one thing that does come with having Pluto and Scorpio, no matter where you're at in the generation. But having a Capricorn North Node there means that if you're willing to work and you're going to put 100% into it, then you're going to get the results that you want. Nilsa Toledo, you keep saying, do I see all that Uranus placements? You can only have one Uranus placement. Uranus is only one planet, so it can only be placed one place in your chart. Now, Aquarius is modernly ruled by Uranus, but other than that, I don't know what you mean. You'd have to clarify what you mean for me before I can answer in an accurate manner. And then, what else we got? CC Cash, you said your sister's North Node is conjunct your Mercury and Leo in the 10th house. You can make your sister feel more confident about herself. Like when you talk to her and you hype her up, like you could just make her feel more confident about herself. What do you mean? You didn't? I don't see anything typed. You can only have. Oh, you mean Uranus making aspects? Those are aspects. Uranus has aspects to a lot of different things. Yes, everybody has lots of different aspects with stuff. I see lots of Uranus aspects all of the time. Yes, if that's what you're asking me. Now, if you have one specifically you want to ask me about, I will gladly answer it for you. But yes, I see people with a lot of Uranian aspects all of the time. And Valley, you said, how is Saturn in the 12th different from Saturn in Pisces? Well, you always have to understand the sign is the energy, the house is where it plays out. Having Saturn in the 12th house means that it plays out in your subconscious. You feel me? Hey, we got 15 more minutes and then I gotta go, y'all. I gotta take my dog to the vet. But I'll be back before the end of the week sometime. Maybe sometime this weekend or on Monday morning or something. You know, we back in the mix. And I'm gonna start putting more educational videos on. I'm gonna come with some stuff back about the midheaven. I'm gonna start writing again and get back in. And I'm gonna start dropping videos about the midheaven. We still have to finish our numerology series. Like, I left a lot of things uncompleted and it's time to get back to work. So I'm back. Yes, I do charge for natal readings. And yes, I do need the business. So send me an email at mr.turner1300@gmail.com. Like, immediately. Help me help you. Now, let me see what Kenny Pooh just said. Kenny Pooh, you said Uranus Aquarius in the 10th house, conjunct your Lilith in Aquarius. Also, that this app says you have Uranus's quintile to your Pluto in your 7th house. Okay. Look, Uranus conjunct to Lilith in the 10th house means your freedom is everything to you. Like, you hate people telling you what to do. You ain't listening to what nobody tells you what to do. Like, you are fucking hard-headed, and you're brilliant, and you're not a bad person, but you don't take orders from nobody. You do what you want to do. You have made freedom a religion, and you are faithful. That's what happens with that. So it's hard for you to be connected or committed to one thing or somebody because they always feel like they can control you, and anything that you feel like is controlling, you're going to naturally rebel against. So it's hard for you to keep a great job sometimes because you would rather have freedom than security. Now, when you have Saturn, let me answer your question. When you have Saturn in Pisces, Saturn is going to affect you energetically. You know, when you have Saturn in the 12th house, Saturn is going to, whatever sign it is, that's going to present some fears related to the energy of that sign in your subconscious, which could hinder you in certain ways in your life or make you depressed. Whereas with Saturn in Pisces, what you have is the past has too much of an influence over that person, and they kind of can be gloomy, or they can be, and they're very compassionate because they know what it's like to suffer, but they also can be the type of person who isolates themselves, or the type of person who doesn't necessarily go do anything about anything because they would rather avoid everything. And so eventually, you know, there's things that they get presented with that, you know, make them deal, and that Saturn return is a crucial time with that. What's up, Shannon Bowers? You caught us at the end, though. We got 10 more minutes. What's up with it? I don't come as live as often as I used to. I still come pretty often, you know, at least once a week, but sometimes twice a week. But life had gotten hectic there for a second. But I'm manifesting that it's gonna calm down for a while. I'm gonna speak that into existence. And then Kenny Pooh, you said the Saturn and Gemini in the first house mean that you fear communication, but your Venus is in your third house too. It doesn't mean you fear communication. It means that it's not as easy for you to communicate with people, or people to understand. You feel like they don't understand you all the time, and it might seem like you take things a little too seriously sometimes. We got Shannon Bowers in the house. It's a good day then. And we got Kane who don't play. Just smile. We blessed like a motherfucker. Now, reflection. You said, "Can I tell you what to expect with your Jupiter and Taurus return in May?" Shit, some money, nigga. Excuse me, man. Some money. Mula, dinero. That ain't really no words, but yeah, all that stuff that means money. Guap, guala. Yeah, loan me something. You investing. Yeah. And don't forget, I got the sale going on right now for all of my services. But nah, Jupiter returning towards life will just be really calm for you, and like you will learn patience, and like you might get some money this summer, and like you might discover some singing talents that you didn't ever have before. Reflection. Hit a note for me right now. I'm gonna see if I can feel it. I ain't gonna hear it, but I can feel it. Let me hear it. Did you do it? Oh shit, King's Throne, you said you're having a Lilith return in Leo at 11 degrees in your second house. What does that mean? Oh, that's fucked up. It means you're cockier than ever. It means your name is Jason and you don't play no motherfucking game. How do I know when the returns are coming up? You know where it is in your chart. I was just smoking. I just don't smoke as much as I used to. I've cut down a lot. I smoke like a third of what I used to smoke. I'm getting old. I can't be doing all that motherfucking smoking and shit. And plus, I was on some shrooms the other day, and it just confirmed more that I'm getting away from the substances. Even cannabis, I love it to death, but it's all addictive. And it's probably best for me to stay away from all of that and to try my hardest to get away from all of that. But because even the shrooms, when I was on the shrooms, it was like the message that the shroom was giving me was I didn't even need them anymore. You know, I'm at a point where I don't need them. I don't need to do any of it. It's awesome. It's all addiction. But I will tell you what I did have fun. Before we go, I will tell you. Because we're finna go right now. But I also watched, that's what I drank. I didn't eat the shrooms. I drank some tea. I drank a lot of tea. A lot, like 8 grams. Like 8 grams worth of tea. But I also watched the new Puss in Boots movie. Yeah, I went hard. But I also watched the new Puss in Boots movie on shrooms. And I love that goddamn movie so much. Like, I got the spiritual message from that movie and everything, man. Like, God, dog. Like, that's probably the most spiritual movie I ever watched. But, I mean, even beyond that, you know what I'm saying? It has a message for us grown folks in there, but just like, it was perfect. It was perfect for that, man. It was perfect. And I had a spiritual experience also earlier before that, before I chilled out and watched the movie. But like I said, it was more or less just telling me I didn't need that and telling me that I need to I need to pay attention to my health. That's the message I got from spiritually from the shrooms was I need to take my ass to the doctor. I need to pay attention to my health. That there's nothing wrong with me chronically right now, but I need to make sure that I take care of myself, and I need to make sure that I pay attention to my health and go to the doctor. I haven't been to the doctor in like 4 years, y'all. I haven't seen a doctor in like 4 years, so it's probably, I probably should take my butt to the doctor and just get checked out. Especially as much as I stress myself out. So, I'm finna go. I love you. I appreciate your love and support. Understand I still have the special going on right now where all of my services are being offered at like half price. And that's going to be for a limited time. And I still have a thing where for every 10 orders I receive, which I haven't even received 10 since the last time we talked with Church of My Feelings, but for every 10 orders I receive, the 11th one I'm going to do free. But it has to be a received order. So that means once you get ready to pay, if you're that 11th person, I'll say, hey, nah, you're good. Or I will refund it immediately. And then you will be the 11th person. But that means even if you aren't the 11th person, though, you're contributing to the next person getting their reading free. And all of my services are like half price right now. And that's going to be for a little bit longer. I don't know for how much longer. I can't guarantee. So get at me ASAP because they're much steeper. So that's going to be at mr.turner1300@gmail.com. And, hey, man, I appreciate all of y'all, man. And I love y'all. Y'all stay out of trouble. Until next time, y'all keep it real.